If you're just starting collecting Pokemon, you need to watch this video before you do anything else. Scammers love targeting new Pokemon collectors. So I put together a video of everything you need to know so as a new collector, you can outsmart all the scammers. And at the end, I'm also going to give you tips on how to spot fake cards and fake packs. And the last piece of the video will be my golden rule for beginners to avoid getting scammed. Let's get it. Tip number one, you need to know the market price for whatever product or card you're looking for. And there's two reasons for this. The obvious one is so you don't overspend, but more importantly for spotting scams are almost always super underpriced. So by knowing the market value, you're gonna be able to spot a lot of scams just because they're gonna be way under that market price to try to grab new collectors quick and make an impulse buy. And the best way to understand market value is to go to ebay.com and look at recently sold for the product you're looking for, or go to tcgplayer.com and search that product. That'll give you a ballpark understanding of exactly what the product's worth. Tip number one, rule of thumb, check eBay and TCG Player because scammers rely on you not understanding the value of the card. Okay, so now you know how to spot scams based on price. Now let's go to the actual products themselves. Tip number two is to watch out for tampered with products. And what I mean by that are resealed or even fake products. A really common scam I see are packs that have been opened cleanly and then resealed with glue. When you're opening the pack, if it's difficult to open and you feel glue, it's probably resealed. Tip number two, rule of thumb, it's pretty simple. Inspect the product, and if you have any questions or concerns, just don't buy it. It's not worth it. Tip number three, you have to be so cautious when you're buying loose booster packs. Not only are they the easiest product to reseal, they can be weighed and they can actually even be metal detected. So what this means, weighing pack is the idea that if there's a hollow or a rare card in the pack, because it's holographic, it weighs slightly more. So you can weigh a sealed pack to see if there's a good card in there or not. Especially with vintage packs, this is like 99% accurate every single time. So you've got to be super careful when you're buying vintage packs. Now, metal detecting, on the other hand, works regardless of the pack. At least at the time filming this video, the Pokemon Company has not figured out a way to combat this with their modern packs. It's the same idea. You use a metal detector on the pack to see how much metal's in there. The hollows have more metal. You know if there's a rare card in there without even opening it. So scammers will buy tons of Pokemon products, open it all up, look at every single pack, keep the packs with hits, offload the other packs at market value. It's really hard to combat, guys, because it's really not tampered with. You don't really know. So my rule of thumb here, don't buy loose packs. Unless you're buying it from a really reputable place, like a local card shop, which I will say I've run into some local card shops that actually do this, and that's just not okay in my opinion. I really would just steer clear of buying loose booster packs. It's way too easy to get ripped off. The next tip is one that beginners probably don't even think about, and that's fake graded cards. Now, you all know what graded cards are. You send your rare card off to PSA or BGS or whatever other grading company you preference. They seal it, send it back to you. It's sealed forever. It's authenticated. It's 100% legit. There's no way to be scammed with these, right? But what if I told you there's a whole market for fake slabs? And slabs are just graded cards. It gets really bulky when they grade it, so the term is a slab. There's multiple ways you can fake a slab. The most obvious one is the entire thing is fake. And the best way to combat this is to look up the certification number when you're looking to buy the card. More times than not, if it's a fake slab, the certification number will not match the card that's in there at all. Dead giveaway, it's fake. You also should check the front and back labels on every graded card very particularly. Look for spelling errors, look for weird text typos, weird spacings. Compare it with a real graded card you can find online. All of these things are super crucial when you're buying a graded card to make sure that you're buying a legitimate graded card. Now, I can't believe I've got to say this, but the last thing I've seen scammers do, they actually open the slab, take out the real card, put a fake version of the card in, reseal it. So now it's a 100% legitimate slab. You're not going to find any issues with the certification number, no issues with the label. The real only way you can prevent this scam is by meticulously looking at the actual slab. If there's any dings in the plastic, if there's any places where it looks like it was pried open, if there's glue residue, those are the dead giveaways that slab was open and I would not touch it. Rule of thumb for this one, always verify that certification number with the grader's website before you consider buying that slab. Tip number five, I'm sure most of you are going to be looking for cards online. So how do we spot fake cards when we don't actually have them? The most obvious giveaway is if the poster is using a stock photo of the card or product. That's a dead giveaway that they don't even have it in their possession. Most Pokemon buy-sell trade groups, any posting they have for sale, they require that someone puts a timestamp, which is like an index card or something that has the date and the name of the person. That way you know for a fact they actually have that card and they took that picture. But on eBay, that's not necessarily the case. So a couple red flags aside from stock photos that you really need to look out for: vague descriptions or even descriptions copy and pasted from the Pokemon website. Words like rare lot or mixed lot, you don't want to mess with that stuff because they're not even telling you what's in the lot. shot, more likely than not, it's random bulk. This comes up again in this area, too good to be true prices. Be very cautious about underpaying for cards. There's a reason they're priced so low, right? Tip number 5, rule of thumb, anything that looks too generic and isn't specific, avoid it. Not worth it. Something that I always do too when I'm buying online, I always talk to the seller before I make a purchase just to make sure it's a real person and they know what they're talking about. I'll ask them a couple questions. I almost always ask for additional pictures of the card. That's a clear way for me to understand that they have the card. So tip number 6, payment red flags. Sometimes the product's completely legit. Everything looks good. When you come to the payment, that's when the scam happens. Whenever you're buying anything from a stranger, even if it's not Pokemon, always buy with buyer protection. There is so much on the line when you're buying before you have the product in your hand and you're expecting them to ship it. You need buyer protection. Using PayPal friends and family gives you no protection. You send them the money, they can just take the money and run, disappear. There's nothing you can do about that. So always use PayPal goods and services. There is a slight fee associated with that, but it's very, very worth it. It's a huge red flag if a seller doesn't want to use a buyer protected service. If they're pressuring you or making up any silly excuses of why they can't use PayPal goods and services, walk away from the deal. Trust me, it's not worth it. Find someone who's willing to do that for you. And that's my rule of thumb for tip 6. If the seller refuses secure payment, walk away. All right, now let's talk about fake singles and how to spot them. This is the most common scam you're gonna find. So if the card in question you have in person, by far the best way to tell if it's fake is coloring. What I always do is I take a real card that I have, usually an energy or something I have lying around that I know is real. I flip it over to look at the back, and then I compare it with a fake card's back. Every single fake is gonna have a different shade of blue. It's not like all the fakes look exactly like this, but I can almost guarantee it's not gonna match up with that blue. If it does pass this test, I'm not done yet. The next thing I do is I go to tcgplayer.com, look up a picture of that card, go through all the text and all the detail with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure there's no spelling errors, something weird. One of the most common things you'll see on fake cards that tells you it's fake is Pokemon on the very bottom doesn't have that little Pokemon thing line. I don't know what you call that. For some reason, fakes don't do that. So that's a clear giveaway that it's not an official Pokemon card if it doesn't have that line. Another way to tell is just the card feel. More oftentimes than not, fake cards feel really papery and thin. They're made a lot cheaper. Real Pokemon cards have a little bit of thickness to them, almost like cardstock. Now, if you only have the ability to look at the card online, definitely still do the TCG player tactic and read through all the words. But also a clear giveaway is the holo pattern. There's so many fakes, specifically base set Charizards, where the holo pattern makes no sense for the card. And what I mean by this is, let's look at the base set Charizard. You can see this holo pattern, got some very faint stars, nothing too prominent. It's all like a little faded and smudgy looking. That's the real holo pattern for that card. Now let's look at a fake Charizard. Look at how pronounced the stars are, how detailed the color in the holo pattern is. It's just like a templated holo pattern they put on every single one. It is a clear giveaway that card is fake. And this applies to so many cards. With modern cards, another way to tell if it's fake is the texture. Modern cards have really detailed, specific textures. I will say I have come across fakes that replicate this really, really well, but most of the time they don't. Most of the time, you're gonna find a fake that has little to no texture. That's another clear giveaway. Rule of thumb for tip number 7, compare the card in question to a guaranteed real card side by side meticulously. So if you don't care about buying singles and you wanna buy the old product, they can be fake too. So how do we spot fake packs? Because the Pokemon company makes millions of packs, they have machines that shrink wrap the packs exactly to the card. So sometimes you're gonna see fake packs that are loose. There's extra material. The cards are kind of moving around in there. That's a dead giveaway that that pack is either resealed or just completely fake. Another great way to tell fake packs versus real packs are the packs themselves. The majority of fake packs you're gonna find have these little ridges on them for some reason. I don't really understand why they do that, but they do. And that's a dead giveaway that these are fake packs. Real packs are flush. There's no ridge. You end up opening the pack and you're not sure if it's real or not. A lot of times fake packs, the cards are upside down, backwards. They're just kind of stuffed in there. That's a clear giveaway that that pack's probably fake. Also, if there's no code card in the pack. All real modern Pokemon packs always have a code card. And the last thing I'm going to mention here for spotting fake packs is the shrink wrap the Pokemon company uses. For expensive products like booster boxes, every single factory sealed Pokemon product is shrink wrapped and the Pokemon logo is on that shrink wrap. So if you're ever buying a booster box that doesn't have the Pokemon logo on the shrink wrap, I'd be very, very cautious. Elite trainer boxes come shrink wrapped as well, but they actually don't come with the Pokemon logo on them. So that's not a red flag if you don't see the Pokemon logo on elite trainer boxes. But what you do want to look out for is how neatly it is shrink wrapped. The Pokemon company does an excellent job shrink wrapping their products. And if the shrink wrap's loose or looks tampered with, I'd be very, very cautious about trusting that product. Rule of thumb, if a pack looks weird, it looks off, probably is, don't buy it. All right, so we breezed through so many different scams, how to identify them and how to avoid them. Out of all of these, I put together a beginner's golden rule to avoid avoid getting scammed buying Pokemon. And it's pretty simple. Don't buy secondhand. I know that kind of defeats the purpose because you feel like you can get deals on eBay, you can get deals in groups. It is true, but at what cost? Do you want to be constantly worried about real and fake? My tip to you, especially as you're learning about Pokemon, buy from reputable sellers. If you're buying on eBay, make sure it's authenticity guaranteed. If you're buying on TCG Player, make sure that retail store has a location, has a 5-star rating, and has a good amount of previous sales. By buying from reputable sources, you're gonna immediately cut your chances of getting scammed infinitely. Listen, I really hope this video helped you. I put a lot of time into thinking about all the possible scams and putting myself in the shoes of a beginner like I was a couple years ago to really understand what do I have to look out for. If this video was helpful, please leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear about some scams you've come across. Let's help each other all learn and avoid scams. Don't forget to subscribe for more Pokemon content, and happy collecting.